Don't put that in.
Okay, I'm gonna sync up our audio.
That's our time code right there.
Well, there's no time code in the camera, or we don't have a
time code is
generator.
Spirit.
Okay, we'll sync it up off of vibes.
Yo, I'm not feeling the vibes in this time code right now.
Fuck, dude. the time code is gonna be like 6 seconds behind.
It's okay.
We
got our awesome editor fixing that
Let's sync
problem.
our vibes.
All right, we're gonna sync our vibes.
And we need to pray like that. Syncing the vibes. We're sure like that.
I want to interlock.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, thank you for this bountiful vibe syncage, and please be with all the homeless people. Amen.
Cool.
Amen.
Amen.
I think.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I think I'll be able to sync those vibes in DaVinci, but not in Premiere. Premiere fucks up the vibes.
Fuck Premiere.
Fuck Premiere,
Fuck
bro.
Premiere.
No. Welcome to Movie Mansion After Dark, except that it's not dark. It's Movie Mansion Before Dark. This is the precast to the podcast. We shot a pilot episode of our podcast back in August.
A period of time ago that was several months ago.
7 months ago.
It was long enough ago to now we have Christmas decorations up.
We do. It's been 7 months. How are you guys doing?
It's not been 7 months. Like, just...
If we shot in,
September, October, November. It's been 4 months.
4 months.
It's only been 4 months.
Potato,
That's
potato.
3 less months.
I think regardless, it's been enough time for the Barbie movie to not be relevant anymore.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So that is some of the things that we talk about on this episode are a little bit out of date. We have been living here for more than a year now. And the Barbie movie also came out 6 months ago, which I did end up seeing, and I loved the movie. I saw it with Steven.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic movie.
It's a great movie.
Yes.
Oppenheimer made $900 million at the box office.
Okay, well, we're not talking about...
And listen, yes, we are. And the Blu-ray version is sold out. That's very
what?
important to know. The Blu-ray version.
Blu-ray.
The DVD,
Who
Blu-ray.
fucking buys DVDs anymore?
Well, it's sold out, so...
Well,
Bunch of
I don't
old
know
people.
who's buying them.
My brother did.
He bought all the copies.
He got so happy he just showed it to me. So, whatever.
So yeah, this is the intro to the intro.
Yeah, this is the intro to our podcast, because that's just what the world needed. Another podcast with 4 straight guys talking about film.
Yep.
So this is just the pilot episode. Hopefully, maybe we can record more episodes and then release them 6 months after we recorded those episodes.
Yes.
But if this episode does well, who knows? Maybe we'll be a little bit more motivated.
Yes. Like,
Yes.
leave a comment and be like, hello. This was a quality podcast. It redefines the genre.
We actually have a script for you in the description. You can just copy paste that.
Yeah,
fill
but
in
make
your
sure to
names, like
enter your
Mad
name
Libs.
and like your social security and stuff like that.
Yeah, mom's maiden name, the whole 9.
And your mom's phone number as well. That one's for me.
Amen.
And please enjoy Movie Mansion After Dark.
Even though it's kind of just overcast right now.
Yeah.
All right, and that's
All right.
a cut.
We forgot the sound.
Oh, okay, it's going. Don't shout anymore.
Okay, no more shouting. This is take 1.
That implies that there's going to be more than one take.
Let's hope that this is one take.
Let's go. We get all the way to the end and then someone messes up, so we'll do take 2.
Okay.
Do you guys do 3 like that, or 3 like that, or 3 like that?
I do it like
Like
this.
that?
like
Like
this.
this?
Wasn't it a thing that like, if the people who do 3 like all guys
It's like a European thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you do 3 like this?
I always did 3 like this up until like I went to the US and people were like this or like that, and I was like,
I'll be
this
honest,
is
I've
so
literally-
much effort to do this. With
I've
you.
literally
it's
done
too
it
much work.
every way you can think of.
Really?
Yeah. One time, like this is gonna sound like a joke, but one time I wasn't even thinking about it. I went like this.
How many is there? 3.
I think I was like doing something, and someone asked like how many whatever, and I was like this.
You know, I mean, it'd be really handy, like if you lost your ring finger and someone like asked you to count to 3, and you could just be ready to go.
I like this.
It comes in handy.
cool.
There's always a silver lining, you know.
It's my new favorite way to do it. 3.
Yeah.
There we go.
Thank you.
Should
He's
I
the
do the
editor,
intro
so-
now?
Yeah, let's do the intro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first Movie Mansion podcast. My name is Steven,
I'm Josh.
I'm JB.
And I'm Jake.
and this will be the first discussion of movie-related topics.
Before we do that, I don't know if I mean, to be fair, everyone who follows us is like a friend of ours, but in the off chance that someone new finds us, we don't have a video introducing ourselves. So should we each give like a quick introduction? Let's do a little icebreaker. Let's do a fun fact.
An icebreaker.
What kind of
Yeah.
toothpaste do you use? And
Hi, my name's Steven. I think I use Colgate.
all right. My name's Josh. I also use Colgate. Big fan.
I'm a follower. I use Colgate as well.
Lame.
Yeah.
You guys are all just. I use Crest. You fucking
Ew.
nerds.
Ew,
All right, kick him
gross.
out.
Get
Kick him
out of
out.
here.
I used my one F-bomb. I did early on.
Hi, my name is Steven. I'm a documentary filmmaker based here in Tampa, where we live in Movie Mansion.
Hi, I'm Josh. I am a writer-director. I mostly write comedies with my immature sense of humor.
Especially, immature.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm JB. I'm also a filmmaker and cinematographer based in Tampa.
My name is Jake. I am an editor and a colorist, also based in Tampa. I don't know why you thought I was going to be based anywhere else. I live with you guys, so
That's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah. I mean,
what-
since we've been talking about where we're all based, we are based in Movie Mansion. You may have heard of it.
Yeah, primarily movie mention.
I'm
That's the
also
spot.
I'm also
That's the
based in
spot.
Tampa.
I am also based at Movie Mansion.
Oh, by the way, I
Really?
just want to say, I'm also based in Movie
Now
Mansion.
what is this concept of Movie Mansion? Let's take me back to the beginning.
Okay, seems like there's one person that can describe this
Yes.
best, and it's
It's
you.
Bo.
We have a fifth member of Movie Mansion. He is probably sleeping.
Too lame to join the
Probably
podcast today,
sleeping.
which
So Movie Mansion originated on the University of Tampa campus back 2 years ago when we all faced with graduation and not knowing where we're going to live afterwards. And we're like, you know what? What if we just combine all of our interests into one house and live together? And I came up with the name Movie Mansion. Now, we had the idea of Movie Mansion. We did not have a place. But now, we have a place. We live in this house, Movie Mansion.
Now all we need is content.
All we need is content.
I know.
your voice is like a perfect voiceover. I think it was such a good idea to use your voice. It's like so perfect. It's like, welcome to Movie Mention.
Thank you.
Hang on, is that
Movie Mention.
Is that the voice from Losing Grip?
I think so. Wait, what's losing grip? I mean, I've heard
What's
about
what's
it,
losing
but-
grip?
What's losing grip?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's backtrack. When was the first time that we all like actually knew each other? Like, because I've
question.
met all of you guys at different times. So like, when was the first time we all like knew each other?
I remember the first time I met JB. We were in documentary class.
That's true.
This was like freshman? No, probably sophomore year.
It was sophomore year.
Sophomore year.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, this guy's really, really good.
It's not true. He was the best in the class. Can't lie about that. Documentaries and stuff, but thank you.
And I was like, I just like can't understand when he's talking though. but he's really good.
Yeah.
And then it was love at first sight.
Or for people who don't know me, I'm from France, so sometimes it happens that there's
No,
a
what?
little bit of a language
couldn't
barrier.
tell.
But whatever. Yeah, true.
That was
Yeah.
the first time I met JB.
Sometimes I actually do forget that I have known you the longest, Steven. I've known you like a year longer than I've known them.
When did we first? Was that?
I think I met you like literally at the same time as I met the first round of film people that I met. So that was like sophomore year.
Yeah.
Was that? It was Tamsin's movie.
Probably Tamsin's movie. Yeah.
Tamsin's
Was it?
Were you on A Beautiful Day?
No.
No.
I
Okay,
was
so
on
it was on The Craft.
The Craft.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember that. Oh my god. I hit the mic. The Craft, and you were doing sound.
Yeah.
That was a fun project.
That was a fun project. We had a lot of fun, and it was also because like it was just super small scale, and we didn't. It was still like the fun days when we didn't really. No, we weren't really stressing about the big projects.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time.
So you guys knew each other the longest, but I knew Josh way before
Well,
I
yeah.
knew you guys.
You
Tell me
guys
how you
met,
guys
like,
met.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great story, honestly.
No, it's not a great story.
It's a great story from my perspective. I'm gonna tell it anyway.
Go for it.
Okay.
I mean,
so
at that point, like
we were like in all right, stop the shush. I'm just kidding. We were in this, like the orientation thing at UT, and there's like icebreakers, like your favorite toothpaste and all that fun stuff. And we got paired up, and he's a Colgate man, which I got a lot of respect for. I'm a Colgate man myself. And we got to talking a little bit, and like, whatever, and like they were showing us the tour, and like he kind of like kept walking next to me and didn't really say anything. And I remember thinking like, why is this fucking kid following me around? Like, and then, we like had lunch, whatever. At the end of the day, he was like, hey man, like, here's my Snapchat, like text me sometime. And I was like,
he was hitting on you.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to text him. And then we ended up having 3 classes together. So I was like, I might as well get to know this kid. But yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. And then, so did you meet? Well, no, because you met them in class. So that means the last people to meet were, I guess, me and you guys, because I met both you guys at the same time, which was also on Tamsin's movie, Comme les Filles. Yeah, that was
French name, by the way. Means
really
like, the girls.
Couldn't tell. I had no idea actually.
That,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't tell from the amount of times that you and Tamsin said it to each other on set.
Awesome film, like awesome shooting. I think that was the first big project that we did. Well, for we went to UT, the University of Tampa. I don't know if we mentioned that, but that was like the
Hang
first.
on, where'd we go?
The University of Tampa.
And where do we live now?
Movie mention.
Okay. You may have heard of
Tampa.
it.
Yeah, maybe.
We're actually based in Tampa. So.
Hang on, Jamie, can you look that up?
But the first big project that happened at UT, probably the biggest at that time, that kind of like brought all of us together, and that's mostly how we all started to be friends, by working on movies and short films at UT, and yeah.
Funny enough, I was actually looking at like old photos that I have, and there is a photo from that set of a group of five guys from the crew, and it's all of us, but instead of Bo, it's Hunter. And I'm like, I mean, this is basically a movie match.
I know
Anyway.
exactly what picture you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what are all of our favorite memories from our first year in Movie Mansion?
That's a deep question.
Which I guess we haven't said yet, but we have been living here for a year, and we have made approximately 3 videos. 3
That's
videos
the fourth
and
one.
1 reel.
Yes.
And a couple shorts, but
shorts.
those are both not public, so.
Yeah, I have some as well if you want to go.
I can start. Can you hear him in the background? He's like,
I did,
Jamie's talking. Hold for Jamie.
Yeah. That's an inside joke. Nobody's going to know that his name isn't actually Jamie until I just said it.
I'd have to say my favorite memory from the first year Movie Mansion was one of our first parties, and it was the professor party. We invited 3 of our University of Tampa professors. My mom was here. Somebody else's parents.
That was
JB's parents.
That was my parents
JB's
there,
parents.
yeah.
We're
All the
also
way
here.
from
All the way from
Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yep, true, yeah.
So it was just all these very creative people having a good time, and it was just like one of my favorite memories.
It was good. It was a good time.
Good answer. I think it's between 2 for me. One of them was our 1-year anniversary party, which was not a wholesome event. And then the other one, which I like to think is much more wholesome, was when we were all setting up the Christmas tree together, and we had the music playing, and so it was just a nice simple moment. Like we were all just like putting up the ornaments and stuff. I really enjoyed that. Yeah.
I think in general, kind of that like section of time has, I think, been my favorite.
Definitely.
Movie Mansion. But did you have a moment, JB? Is your favorite?
To me, it was when we all moved in and we all started setting up everything in the house and kind of like design it like like a real filmmaker house. That was probably like, yeah.
Dude, I look back again at some of those pictures again, and it's crazy to like see the house before everything is up, because we're already like so used to it now, but like to see this wall completely bare, like the pool table not here, just a mountain of boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boxes, specifically the boxes. Yeah.
Mount Movie Mansion.
Mount Movie Mansion. I'm gonna put that picture up on screen. But yeah, it's just like it's already become like very nostalgic, even though we've only been here for like a year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I was probably gonna say one of my favorite moments was probably the Friendsgiving. I like either the Friendsgiving, or also I did like when we were all just like setting up the tree, because that was a fun time, I think. Yeah.
Friendsgiving was cool.
Yeah.
We had all those people in the dining room.
It was like Thanksgiving, but with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea that's where that came
I just
from.
wanted to clarify for the Europeans that might be among us, you know.
It's Friendsgiving.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Thanksgiving, but with friends.
Mm-hmm.
I can get a dictionary if you'd like. I can Google Translate it for you, maybe. Okay.
That'd be really helpful. Thank you.
Happy to help.
Always the best.
So like, what is movie? We've talked about Movie Mansion past. We've talked about Movie Mansion present. What is Movie Mansion future?
I feel like before we talk about the future, I feel like there's need to be some explanation of what our roles are in the house. Steven is the dad of the house because it basically is.
He mows the lawn.
He does. He
Yeah.
mows the lawn. Yeah, that's exact. Look at him. Yeah, that's Daddy Steven. That's all I have.
I mean,
So-
That's the only role.
These are the roles of the house, and
And we're the
Steven is
kids,
the only
that's
role.
it.
Yeah.
yeah. So in our production company, Steven's role is dad.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think
His
that
mom.
like we just want to we just want to make content that is like not beholden to essentially just like people telling us what to do. Like we have all been friends for multiple years, and you know, this is for all intents and purposes, this is a content house, but we're not like the hype house because, well, I guess we are like the hype house.
But we're more classy.
We're more classy. But we do have, I mean, okay, we don't, I've been making jokes, but we don't have nothing, right? We do have a film right now that is that is in festivals right now currently. That was directed by our very own French guy over here.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that a little bit?
So a couple months ago, actually, my friends from France came up with this idea that they wanted to make a short film and experience what it would be to, make a short film in the U.S. And that was kind of like their dream. And unfortunately, while they're in France, they're doing that.
A couple months ago?
A couple months ago, right?
That was
last
September.
September.
So a couple
They're
months
doing
ago last year, you're saying?
I mean, a couple months ago. We'll just say last.
Just
year.
like
Thank you,
11
thank you.
months ago.
A couple months ago, and they came up with the idea of making a boxing short film, and that's what we did. We spent weeks preparing for that film, and it was the first collaborative project that we all did in the house. Obviously,
Yeah.
well, Bo was the only one not participating, but all
Bo
of
was
us
out of town.
except him were on this project, and it was a lot of fun.
Do you want to give a synopsis of what it's about?
What's Here and Now about? That's a good question. So it's about this boxer who struggles in competition, and it kind of comes with the background that I had. So before all the filmmaking, I was playing golf, and I had a lot of struggle. I'm going to say this with kind of like overcoming that fear of competition, which is pretty common for a lot of athletes.
Because he kept losing all the time.
And I kept losing all the time. Exactly. That's why I'm a filmmaker now. And I don't do it anymore. But that's kind of like where the idea came from. This really, really good boxer who is very good at training, but whenever it comes to competition, cannot overcome that fear. And that's where the entire idea of the film came. And that's what we did. We tried to recreate it in as short and concise of a short film. I think the short film is like 12 minutes long.
No, it was a really fun experience though. It was really cool. It's you know the spirit of just like you have when you are making films as like a student, whereas like when you I say when you get into the industry, which sounds so like pretentious.
No,
we're
we'll
barely
say
in the,
post-grad.
We're barely in the industry, but like that spirit of like problem solving and just having your small crews. It's a short film, right? We only shot for 5 days, something like that. And it was really cool to just find that again, because I think a lot of people when they graduate film school, or even just if they were never a student to begin with and they just jump right into the industry, it's they go into like just right into these big productions that whatever they can find, and they're hired by people, and it's like we were just a group of friends making this cool thing. And so where can people watch this movie right now? It's in festivals right now.
It is.
Which
It is in
festivals is it
festival. We're screening it, and we submitted it to a bunch of festival, obviously in Tampa, Florida, a couple in France, because it is two of my friends obviously are from there. The co-writers from France, and the main actor also. So we actually got into 5 different festivals so far, and we're still waiting. Obviously for we'll hear from it in a couple of weeks. But yeah.
I mean, I don't, is there really anything else we need to talk about ourselves? Do we need to talk about ourselves anymore?
Not really.
No.
Yeah, we can talk a lot about
I
ourselves.
mean, maybe we can talk about the progress from like the UT films and like
That's what
how
film set. All right, so what are you guys' thoughts about, as we were all student filmmakers and we worked on a lot of student sets, and now we're working in the real world on real sets, what are some of the biggest sort of differences, challenges that you guys have seen?
I think the first thing. Well, okay. Also, it should probably be clarified. Out of the 4 of us, I was never actually a film student. I literally learned everything I know about film by just watching you guys and watching our friends. But I was also the first one to graduate. Humble brag. I'm better than all of you. But so as soon as I graduated, it was weird because I think one of the things that they don't really teach you in film school is how to actually find the film jobs, because it's not like they're just posting them on like LinkedIn or Indeed. You kind of have to go out of your way to like search for them, and a lot of the times it's just going to be through people that you know. So my first film job my first like actual work right out of college was for this guy who was working in downtown, and I was literally just editing like these corporate videos for him, and I was contract for him, so I wasn't actually like full time. So as soon as I like got an actual like film job, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. So I got, well, actually, I guess my first job after that was the one that we worked together in Orlando, which was a digital media commercial shoot. But then the one after that was an actual like film job. It was a feature that I still don't think is out yet, but it was a really cool experience because it is really a shock just to see, and this wasn't even a large feature. It had a budget of $1 million, but the scale was already just so much bigger. It's like, I think in any industry, you learn the most by doing. So there was so much just being on that first feature that I had to learn that I didn't learn in school. Well, so I guess like after that, it's like the next thing is like maintaining that momentum in terms of work, because through this point we have all been strictly freelancing since we all graduated. And the thing about freelancing is you have to constantly be looking for work. And so just because of the nature of those jobs, they were all put on by the same like producers, by the same EP, and they didn't last forever. So it was like a huge high, and then all of a sudden there was just no work again.
So one of my sort of favorite projects that most of us worked on was a TV show that was shot every Wednesday evening in St. Pete, and it was almost like a little bit of a fever dream because it just like didn't really feel real.
It was
even
so
looking back.
Weird. It didn't. It also should be mentioned. We're not going to say what the show was, but it didn't make it through the first season.
It got canceled halfway
It got canceled,
which is probably for the
halfway
best.
through the season. Yeah.
Anyways, we were all like PAs, and anybody care to elaborate on our?
You're totally right. It was a really weird experience. I think a lot of that, first of all, just stemmed from the fact that it was a live show, or at least, it was different for me because like live is very different in that we only worked the day that it aired, minus the day that the hurricane came through. So we went in and like packed up everything before it came through. But we only worked the day that it aired, and then like for most of the day, there wasn't a lot of production stuff happening. And then once the actual show happened, like everything was basically already set up, so we kind of were literally just standing around, and then if people who weren't part of the production were like walking by and wanted to like check out what was going on, we had to kick them out.
It was a lot of people's management.
Yeah, but it was also
it was very
it was also like the least amount of like doing actual film set things. I mean, as PAs, you're not doing that much anyway. Like we were, refilling coolers and like setting out crafty and stuff. But like even beyond that, It wasn't a lot of like actual, film set stuff.
Don't forget, we also emptied the coolers after.
Can't forget about that. No, of course not.
There was one day where they had me sweep with this tiny broom an entire unfinished warehouse section for them to put all of their gear in. And that was an interesting.
It was literally like a construction site.
Yeah.
It was so dusty.
Don't
know what the point of sweeping
the
it
beauty
was.
of being a PA.
The thing is, I could have drove home, which is like 45 minutes, got my leaf blower from the garage, and drove back, and leaf blew all of this that they were having me sweep faster than it actually took me to sweep the whole thing.
It was a fun project.
Film is such a
fun,
weird industry to navigate when you're first starting out, because there's no clear path to take. Like, I mean, what are the majority of the projects that you guys have actually worked on?
That's I agree with that, and I think that's a very important question. Is whether or not, for people who want to do film eventually, should you go to film school or not? Is it worth investing the money or not?
And everyone you talk to is going to have a different answer.
For me personally, UT was great for the connection and meeting the people, and as Jake said earlier, getting to work on projects and working as professionally as possible to prepare yourself for the long game. It was fun. It was great. We actually, some of my best memories are with obviously a lot of the student short film and the teachers. If the teacher sees that you're invested and you really, really work your ass for it, because it's kind of like the dangerous part of being a film student is you cannot work that much and still have good grades. And that boundary between working a lot and not working that much it's very easy to go from one to another. So you kind of have to give it all and really want it. I've met so many film students throughout my 4 years at UT that did not care at all. And I'd be really curious to see what they're up to right now. You have to.
Which, again, it should be clarified, we are by no means experts. We have not been in this industry that long. But as 4 people who went to college and are now trying to make it in the film industry, what would you guys say actually, up to this point, has been the most valuable thing that you've gotten from school?
Josh, you want to take that one?
Yeah, man. My depression went through the fucking roof. Sorry, I swear again.
That's your second fuck. That's
yeah,
you're out.
I think that might have been my third one, if I'm being honest.
Jamie, you keeping track of the fucks?
Nope.
But wait, what was the question again?
What would you say is actually is the most valuable thing that you, if someone is looking at whether they should go to film school, we can't give them a definitive yes or no, but as someone who did, what would you say is the most valuable thing that you've gotten from it?
I would definitely have to agree with JB. The connections is, it's such a big part of it. That's how I met all you guys, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair right now if I didn't go there. I'd be sitting in a different chair somewhere else. And I like this chair. This is my favorite chair. So
it's a little bit high for this pool table, but
we're not. Yeah,
We're making it
I don't know if we can blame UT for that.
I can try.
Steven?
So circling back to being a film student, at least for somebody who tried to exert themselves in some capacity, is my days were usually very full because I also had an on-campus job. So I would always be doing something, working on the next project, being in class, you're always doing stuff. Also living downtown, UT's in a great location, so there's action happening from right as when you wake up to when you're going to sleep. So it was we really packed in the amount of time that we spent. And post grad, it's a much more relaxed lifestyle. And I also took a gap year before going to UT. And when you're not in that very structured time, it's easy for time to kind of get wasted,
Yeah.
And so in that sense, I really enjoyed film school for that very structured time for learning, even though there's a majority of what I use now I learned on the film set, not necessarily in class or by teaching myself, which that's with most things.
I think that's actually a really good point that you brought up. It's if you are going to go to film school, take advantage of it. Going back to what you said, it's it's really easy to just do the work, get the grades, and like graduate. But at that point, you've spent probably thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe not hundreds of thousands, depending on what school you went to.
Yeah.
But you've spent tens of thousands of dollars on this education where like there is a very real, it's also like a very possible thing to get into the industry without having gone to film school. And a lot of people will tell you that. They'll say you don't need to go to film school. Which there's merit to that because, again, we've been saying most of what we learned has been by working actually on set. But, again, if you are looking to see what is the value of film school, it's going to be, yeah, you're right, the connections. Like, I think at this point, 95% of the jobs that I've gotten have been through people that I knew from school. Mm-hmm. So, like, we talking about earlier about how it's hard to actually find the jobs, but if you know people who are working in the industry or even just people that are graduating with you, that is going to be the easiest way to actually like find those jobs.
It's when you graduate school, you realize, you realize the expense of making a short film. When we at UT, we had this awesome place. The Cage, which basically allowed us to get as much equipment as we needed. And UT only got better through the years with better equipment, and we could get all of that without paying for anything. We could get as many people in our crew that we were friends with without obviously paying them. We were all helping each other. So that was, to me, the most beneficial part of being a film student, because you could use all that obviously for future reference and yeah, I don't know.
Well, on that note, Steven, why does the F6 say we've only been recording for 2 minutes?
I believe it restarts every 45 or something.
That's good enough.
Have we been talking for 45 minutes?
I think we have.
It's something along those lines, yeah.
We should move on to a new topic.
I had a follow-up.
Okay.
Me too. I had a follow.
Okay,
I follow up.
real quick, guys. And then I had a follow-up. No.
Guys.
Jamie has a follow-up.
Jamie has a follow-up.
Get Jamie on a mic. So it's interesting you say that, JB, because I feel like if you're trying to make a creative film, that's much easier to do when you're in film school because you have basically all this free equipment and free labor. And trying to create a real film after graduating is much more challenging just due to financial.
You don't have the stress. You don't have the amount of pressure that you have in the real industry, like finding the budget, finding the producer that would do this and that. And I think that was probably some of the best part. You were talking earlier about our journey through UT, and like I think people should know that we were trying to like make short films be as creative as possible. But Steven, in the meantime, started working on his feature documentary. He's been working on it for 5 years, and I think out of all of us, you are the one that probably inspired me the most through what you did and like working on this documentary while you still had
kissing hour.
It is Steven's kissing hour, but I think it was really impressive working on such a like really great feature film, and out of all of us, you're the only one that so far did one that turned out absolutely fantastic and following like a character. And I think you can definitely talk about what it is to make a feature documentary, what the time they invested in. I think it'd be something interesting.
Should we talk about that right now, or should we save that for another?
Or I don't know.
We can
I feel
save
like
that for
it'd
another
be
episode.
like an interesting
Let's save that, and we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Okay.
Hear
Deal.
more about my
Deal.
film.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, I just want to thank the sponsor of this podcast, fucking us, because no one is gonna pay us to do this. So
Steven's Equipment Cage.
Steven's Equipment Cage.
And-
Gobo G&E.
So S&I Films, Gobo G&E for only this mic stand does all that.
Not the microphone,
Not the microphone.
Just the stand.
just the stance.
And also,
I mean, he was very generous to let us use that stand.
JB Hansali LLC for the red camera and the Black Magic camera.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
This is a good time to shout out. Follow us on Instagram.
What's our Instagram?
At Move Mansion. MOV and then the word mansion. Can you spell that? Good. So,
So I rented equipment a few days ago.
did you really rent equipment just for this podcast?
No, I rented out equipment a few days ago. And it was somebody I'd never met before, but like within our vicinity as a filmmaker. And, we got to talking, and I was like, yeah, this is Movie Mansion. He's like, are you guys at Move Mansion on Instagram? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh my God, you're the guys.
Really?
And that was the first time that's ever happened where somebody knew about Movie Mansion.
That was part of the group of friends.
And was not connected at all. They just had seen it.
We're actually influencers
That's
now.
wild.
Can you believe
That's kind of
that?
crazy.
That made me happy.
That makes me happy to hear.
Did he take his picture at the neon sign?
No, unfortunately not.
Big fan.
Actually, this is a perfect example. So sometime last year.
Sorry, just checking if the camera's still rolling.
The red's rolling.
Bro, it's not rolling.
Or the black magic's not rolling. All right, so the last hour of us recording, there's no footage of me.
So we're professionals, and we don't fuck up.
But we got the white shot.
No, absolutely not.
We got the white shot.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
every time we get to me, it's just going to be the GoPro. I'm going to be looking this way the whole time, so he's not going to see me.
Oh, no. Since when?
Oh, the drive's full? F6 is speeding. Well, okay. It does say, the F6 does say it's only on roll 2. So, I don't know.
I think it connects it or whatever.
Okay, hopefully. I hope it didn't only shoot like 2 minutes of that.
This is Movie Mansion Podcast 1, Take 2.
We really did make it to take 2. All right, so what is Movie Mansion? No. Okay.
I mean, yeah, if you get the article, it
Yeah.
makes
Okay,
more
ready?
sense for you to.
Go. We already did that part, JB.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
JB, you fucking idiot. JB, you're fired.
All right.
Okay, whenever you're
I'll
ready.
look it up.
Jamie?
JB unemployed.
Jamie, pull up JB's LinkedIn.
There's nothing on it.
So apparently Mattel, the company that owns Barbie, plans to make 45 more movies based on their toys after the success of Barbie.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah, I think it's really stupid if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I think Barbie was obviously very successful, and now everybody has their own cinematic universe, like Mario and stuff. But if you look at Mario and you look at Barbie, it's just really well written movies with great script, great characters and great actors and stuff. Yeah. And Mattel, I was literally just looking up the other toys, and there's Hot Wheels and stupid you make a fucking Hot Wheels movie, really?
I mean, there are Hot Wheels movies. They're animated and they're pretty bad, but
isn't that a sign that they shouldn't make it then?
I feel like part of why Barbie is so successful is because it's so out there, so different from most of the things that we've already seen.
That's what I was just gonna say too. I keep forgetting that Barbie was put on by by this big studio, Mattel, because it's Barbie is an IP that everyone pretty much knows about, but because it's Greta Gerwig and because and for context, you have all three of you have seen Barbie. I have not seen it. I want to. But it just feels like this. It feels more like an indie. I mean, I haven't seen it, so the production was big, but it feels more like an indie movie. I keep forgetting that it was put on by this big studio.
And I think so. What you're saying with it being indie, because we're so used to Marvel with very repetitive sort of cycles, and
It has a formula.
yeah, you kind of know what's going to come because they know that's what's going to work. And Barbie is so different, and that's really what people like to see in new movies.
Or for someone who's seen Barbie, I think I've had so many of my friends and family who told me, "You're really gonna see Barbie? That looks like a kids movie."
Yeah.
And there's not a lot you can tell them because obviously they're not in the film industry. But I'm like, this is a movie.
You say, well, it's Greta Gerwig.
It is
I
a
don't know
movie
what that
directed by
means.
Greta Gerwig, but she actually is the first woman director who passed the billion in the box office, which is absolutely amazing.
That's
Yeah.
right.
It's, and even though a lot of people had doubts about it, had feelings that it might have not worked, but it's still, the hype was there. It was absolutely insane.
Well, they spent more money on the.
Is it pink paint? Is that what you're gonna say?
Well, yes, but they spent more money on the advertising than on the actual movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah, but it hit $1 billion in I think 17 days or something, which is really impressive.
I think the other wild thing with Barbie 2, which, first of all, before I forget it, there was a national shortage or a worldwide shortage of pink paint.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
But I saw someone said that like Greta Gerwig probably feels like J. Robert Oppenheimer right now because she achieved this great feat in her industry that is now being used for nefarious purposes. But just, yeah, the fact that like 45 movies on the slate is like very clearly Mattel is, it's just this classic scenario of this corporation sees that something is making money, so they're going to take all of the life out of it so they can just mass produce these products, so they think that they're going to make more money, which in Marvel's case they did make a lot of money, but I think we're, you know, everyone's kind of starting to get tired of the franchise model where you kind of just see the same thing 3 times a year.
So the whole Barbenheimer concept was really quite fascinating, and they're very different movies because Oppenheimer is such like a filmmaker's movie, and like, you know, as watching that I could really appreciate all the cinematography. And Barbie's not necessarily like made for the filmmakers, but while watching it I did feel like it made me want to shoot on a soundstage just for how much production they put in, and also because, you know, a lot of filming now like that could be shot on a volume where you're trying to fake things, and to have it actually be set with a world of pink paint really made me like appreciate that type of filmmaking.
Like you said, they're both very different movies in so many ways, and the fact that they both came out literally the same week,
The same day.
that they came out the same day. I mean, the hype was there. You know, you could see kind of like the fight between like who's going to see Barbie, who's going to see Oppenheimer. And as a person, I'm a big fan of Oppenheimer. I think the hype for Christopher Nolan was building up over the years after every great movies that he's made, especially like, you know, over the years. And there's rarely been a film that flopped from him, from what I remember. But on the other side, you got Greta Gerwig, who made Lady Bird, who made all these great films. People respect her, and I think it's what people are looking for today is not so much. I mean, obviously, like you say, the Marvel movies made a lot of money, but they're more looking for the director, the name, who's going to appear on the screen, who's going to be starring. Obviously,
who is looking for that?
I feel like the audience, like,
Yeah.
you know, if you hear Barbie, if it was made by a random director, it might have not been the same.
Yeah.
So-
or the same with the cast, like if you didn't
Yes.
have
Yeah.
A-list actors, people.
Robbie Gosling.
Yeah.
So coming back to like our original question, like what is the actual value in Barbie that made it as massively successful as it is, and then what are the studios seeing, because they are clearly not seeing the same things to put all these movies on their slate. Like, what is the difference there between what the actual success of Barbie came from and then what they think it came from, and why they have put so many of these movies on their slate?
I think a big part of it was the memes.
Yes.
Like honestly,
Yes.
like, I mean, think about what was the Jared Leto movie, Morbius. Think about Morbius.
Yeah.
That movie got reamed. Okay, nobody liked it. It was a terrible movie. Nobody liked it. And then everybody was like, oh, we need a re-release because it's such a great movie. And then they're like, oh, everybody wants a re-release. Let's do a re-release. And then they did. And again, nobody went to go see it. And I think it was kind of the same thing. Like, oh my God, there's going to be all these Mattel movies. Let's go.
Yeah.
And like, oh, everybody wants to see all these Mattel movies. Okay, let's go. But yeah, I don't think they're going to do
It's
well.
so funny that they were like, release it a third time. We were all busy that day.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw like paparazzi photos of Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie in this really bright outfit in California, and like there's a video of like
in costume.
so they're like on set, and there's like some guy who like slaps her butt, and everybody has this vision of what Barbie should be, what a Barbie movie should be, and because they're doing like almost the complete opposite, that's why I think it's gotten so much attention. So with making all these more movies, like there's only so many times you can like make a twist before it's like we've already seen
Especially if it ends up being the same twist.
Yeah.
In every movie.
Well, and to add to that, like Barbie is also it's like such an essential toy for so many kids growing up. Like it's an iconic name, you know? And I think that was a big part of it too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a great point that like, yeah, the fact that the whole Barbenheimer movement happened, like that is marketing that you can't pay for. Like that is just, it was, I don't know if it was coincidence or what, but the fact that those two movies came out on the same day is like, I'm sure they didn't plan that. So like,
Apparently they did.
they did.
Aren't they both Warner Brothers movies?
So Christopher Nolan used to work closely with Warner Brothers.
right.
But Barbie is Warner Brothers.
Okay.
But Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer, was with Paramount? No, Universal.
Mm-hmm.
So Christopher Nolan's movie Oppenheimer was with Universal because he had some sort of disagreement. This is like what the rumors say with Warner Brothers, and so
Is this all for like as distributors or
yes,
okay?
as like the studio
Because
major
his
studio backing it.
what's the name of his company?
Syncope.
Syncope. So Syncope was the actual production company
Yes.
that put on the movie.
Yes, but then it's also partnered with Universal, and so apparently they had already picked the date for Oppenheimer first as the date that it was going to come out, and then Warner Brothers, since there might be some beef there, chose to release Barbie on the same day to try to take away from some of his fame. That's what the rumors say, but in the end, it actually really helped Oppenheimer because of the whole Barbenheimer.
Yeah, it
names.
helps both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. So maybe it was planned. It didn't have the outcome that they intended. Is I think what it
Yes.
sounds like.
Yes.
But regardless, that it was a huge part of Barbie's success was just that social movement. And yeah, that's marketing that you can't really pay for.
Sure.
You looked like you had something to say.
You said that earlier. The story is a beginning, a middle, and an end. And I respect.
We ended up cutting that part out of the episode. So
Oh, okay.
Well, in case anybody doesn't know, a story is a beginning, a middle, and an end.
if you guys have never heard a story before,
I think to me, Christopher Nolan is such a great director because he knows when to stop. Same for Quentin Tarantino. You know, that idea. Obviously, he's a perfectionist he's a purist on filmmaking, and the idea of only wanting to do a certain amount of movies and then that's it, it's done. Same for Christopher Nolan. You mentioned Warner Brothers. They wanted Christopher Nolan to make a fourth movie about the Batman trilogy. They were like, we need a fourth one because it's working so well. Obviously, he didn't, and I think it's the best thing that could have ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
People would have definitely wanted to see it, but you create a story, you create a beginning, a middle, and an end, and that's it. You need to learn when to stop, and I think it's the best thing a filmmaker could do, and not pushing for try to make more money, try to make it's just the idea, it's the art of filmmaking.
So with regards to Barbie, again, so there was obviously the social movement, but then also a big part of why people actually liked the movie is because it was able to stand on its own, right? It wasn't trying to be this big franchise thing. We've had conversations before where I think like there are genres of movies that come in like waves. They're like different eras of movies that are like the biggest movies at the time, right? In the 80s, gangster movies were huge and sci-fi movies were huge in the 80s. In the 90s, I wasn't around then in the 90s. Not that I was around in the 80s, but I don't really know what it was in the 90s. But in the early 2000s, Pixar movies were huge, and then you had the Marvel era. And now that we've kind of the sun is setting on the Marvel era. I think we're seeing a rise of A24 movies are having their day right now.
Films and
I think the big differentiator there is the fact that all of these movies are more standalone things.
And they're creative. They're way more creative. They're not like this formula. There's something that will surprise you, something that you're not expecting. Right. Sometimes they're really weird. But see, for example, The Whale. It's all happening.
Is that an A24 movie?
It is an A24 movie. You know, Brendan Fraser, obviously his role is absolutely amazing. I think, right after Everything Everywhere All at Once, it might have been, don't quote me on that, the second movie that made, the most money after this one. But people are genuinely appreciating more of these kind of stories because they're not the same formula that you've seen 1,000 times before.
I think the last question I was gonna say is okay. Let's say you are Mattel, right? You're a Mattel executive.
So you are Will Ferrell.
You are Will Ferrell, right? You were in. I can't think of a single Will Ferrell movie. How is that even possible?
Step Brothers,
You were
Talladega
in
Nights.
Step Brothers.
Elf.
No, you're a Mattel executive, and you want the company to move more into the economy of making movies, right? What do you do? Because clearly what they're doing in terms of putting all these movies on their slate is not working. So like, what do you do? What's your next move for Mattel moving into this industry?
Well, we don't necessarily know that it's not working because we've only seen their first thing.
Yeah,
We're just speculating.
I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, in terms of like public opinion.
Right.
I mean, assuming that the movies that lined up don't work, the smart thing to do would be to just make a movie and then make the toys after. You know, because if you make a movie that all these kids love, like, I want this new action figure, like, that would be the best way to do it. Yeah.
Okay, JB.
I totally agree. I had something to say, forgot.
Okay, that's fine. While you think about it, in this, we live in like we live in a society. First of all, in this like capitalist society that we live in, do you like what do you think about the risks of? I think especially this happened a lot in like the 90s and early 2000s, but it had happened a lot with kids like cartoons and stuff, TV shows, but like. A lot. They made all these. They made all this IP and they made all these.
That's
The GoPro.
GoPro died.
It's up. Okay, that's fine. We'll just keep going. We're almost done anyway. Like, they fell into this hole of making these properties just so they can make toys, and so the kind of quality and the way they kind of thought through these projects kind of suffered. So do you think there's a way for Mattel to move forward without falling into that hole?
If they were smart, you know, and they learned from, you know, Marvel's mistakes, because like Marvel does essentially the same thing. Every movie, the superhero has a new outfit so they can sell the new toy. Like, I mean, if they were smart, they would learn. But
I mean, to be fair, like, that's kind of where Power Rangers' success came from.
Oh yeah,
Their whole thing was they just designed these new characters to be toys.
same with like G.I. Joe's originally was literally made just to sell toys.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
Growing up, my favorite superhero movies were the Raimi's trilogy of Spider-Man. I was a big fan. Watched this movie a million times when I was 5, 6. My hope for these movies were, when they started making more and more superhero movies, and I'm talking like way before the 2008 Iron Man movie that they that started the MCU multiverse in a way, was, oh my god, I really hope that they're gonna bring all these superheroes together. It'd be insane. It'd be so cool. So they kind of like did what the audience wanted for that. Is just started to like slowly bring all these superheroes together, and obviously what they did is kind of over exaggerate that to the point where it became too much.
Yeah.
To me, like the end of the end of the MCU is the Endgame movie. That's it. That's over. Like that's, if I ever show these movies to my kids one day, it would be Endgame. Would be probably maybe Far From Home. Be the last movie you can show them, because that's where the story ends.
Not even No Way Home.
No Way Home. Sorry, I say Far From Home. No Way Home. My bad. No Way Home will be like the last movie I can show them, because it's it's special in a way, because we've been growing up with them. Now, what's the next step? What's the next big Hollywood, I'm gonna say, like
Trend or fad?
Yeah, like where are you going from now? Well, how do you be creative?
Do you think it's toy movies?
Well, I'm definitely not saying it's toy movies, but it's just like
I
trying
really-
to figure out that
Well,
question.
I think, like,
it's just, where are you going from there?
I think
How to be more creative?
Yeah, I think if we want to just kind of start to tie this topic up in a bow, I think the first thing that you do is just like you find great storytellers and you let them tell their own story. I think because so many of the movies that have come out in the past like 10, 20 years, because we're in this era of like studios creating these worlds, and like the studios more than like individual movies. They're creating this brand identity. Like the thing that happens is like the studios just end up putting their hands in too much into the movie making basket. And I think again with Barbie, the great thing is Greta Gerwig is an amazing storyteller, and she was able to tell her story in her way. And I think that hopefully these studios can realize that is how you're going to make good movies.
Yeah, my guess is that with all of these new toy movies that they're going to make, I think, the basic people who go and watch it, who are not really film people, even though it is probably going to be somewhat repetitive, they'll still like enjoy it as like, it's entertaining or whatever, and it won't be as successful as Barbie. and so they'll be able to just kind of make these smaller spin-off versions that the real filmmakers are not really that interested in.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, Steven, can you show me some of the movies that they have on their slate? So what I want the last thing we're going to talk about with this whole subject is I want us to go through some of these titles that they have on their slate, and I want each of you to pick one of these properties and say who you think should direct it.
All right. So some of the upcoming projects that Mattel plans to make: Barney, Polly Pocket, Hot Wheels, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, American Girl, Magic 8 Ball, Masters of the Universe, and Major Matt Mason.
So the first thing I thought of was a Barney movie directed by Guillermo del Toro.
That would be trippy.
Right?
That would be trippy.
I don't even know. Magic 8 Ball. How do you even make? I guess they made a Tetris movie.
It's probably
I guess
going to
it'd
be
something like that.
literally magical. And it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm going to shake this. What's going to... Oh,
it's like it like tells the future or something.
it's some stupid shit like that, probably.
It's like some kind of Jumanji Matrix.
Yeah, you get sucked into the Magic 8
I'd
Ball.
like it to be directed by Jordan Peele. I think that would be solid.
Yeah.
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 I feel like if anybody
That
can
would
make it
actually be
interesting, I
sick.
think he could make it interesting.
Yeah. Polly Pocket. That would be. I feel like there's a horror movie that could be made there.
How Uno? Uno is literally a card game. Like,
Okay. I think Hot Wheels should be directed by Michael Bay.
That
Naturally.
would. Yeah.
Naturally.
Naturally.
I can see it.
Did you guys ever see the old animated Hot Wheels movies?
no.
No.
Dude, I grew up on those, and you can't find them anywhere anymore. But the animation was so bad. But I watched them like a million times. Like it was literally like every time we take a road trip, we had like these DVD players that like strapped to the headrests of my parents' car, and I just watched those movies on repeat, man. It's like Hot Wheels is like Acceleracers, Ignition. No, I think the series was called Acceleracers. There were 4 movies. There was like, I don't even remember. Ignition was the first one, but they were really trippy. It was like the concept. It was like the whole thing was there were these racers that they would go on these races, and like they would start in their like compound, and then they would go through this portal and get transported to like these crazy like realms and stuff. And it was honestly really trippy to watch. I would actually be like, I think it'd be really cool to like watch those movies with you guys because they're so weird.
Okay. We'll add it to the watch list.
All right, cool. The watch list. I think I deleted the watch list because we weren't watching any of the movies.
We'll make a new watch list.
That we won't watch any movies.
Well, thank you folks for watching our first podcast. Make sure to stay tuned for future episodes.
Yeah, hopefully we'll actually release this one. This is where our jingle plays. So does anyone want to come up with a jingle?
Yeah, I know the words to Jingle Bells. If you want, I can sing that.
Go for it.
I don't want to actually say.
Play the credits.
The bit didn't go that far. I don't want to. It was a bluff. Look away. Everybody talk about something else.